So Jess, so we touched on a few different areas, right, within your role and within marketing in general. But there's always new kind of buzzword kind of tactics out there, or new strategies that you read about. So I've seen a couple, but what are some of the latest trends that you're looking at, watching? What do you think is new and maybe different, and maybe just a different name for something that's already existed?
I mean, it's a different name for something that already existing. Is basically like marketing jargon 101. It's like
in media.
every year. Yeah, we come up with a new name for something, and then everyone's like, "Have you done this?" And you're like, "Yeah, I've heard of this term." And it turns out it's just
explain that to me, and then you're like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah,
it's very familiar.
I get a real kick out of marketing jargon. And my favorite one right now, I'd say, there's like two really trends that are that everyone's kind of talking about. I'd say the first one is dark social, and it's everyone's kind of talking about it. It's essentially like unattributable activity that comes through your channels. So they call it dark social because it's like someone says something on Reddit, or there's something kind of a conversation in a forum, or something that happens online that's someone recommends something or recommends your product, and they come through and you can't figure out where they came from. That's essentially dark social. We used to just call it word of mouth. I was going to
say, us just
digital word of mouth.
Yeah. So like if I recommended something to you guys here, that might be dark social. So I think it's kind of funny, but also like it's becoming more of a thing, is like tracking's going away. People can't attribute as much as clearly. So I think people are trying to deal with that by creating new terms.
But so they've created a term, but are they able to actually track that? Is there like, are they just, is it one of those where, hey, we can't track this anymore, so we're just going to talk about dark social? But has anyone actually kind of, taken a crack at tracking that? Like, to your point earlier around, measuring and, having kind of key metrics, is that for certain products or services, companies, brands? I mean, that could make more sense, right? Where it's something that you'd really want to understand.
I might be getting this wrong, so people comment on this video if I'm incorrect. I don't think they have figured that out yet. I think that's part of why it's gotten its own term, because it's happening more and more and more, and people haven't figured out how to attribute it back, and as marketers, we're constantly trying to figure that part out. So I don't believe so. But there's certain things like you'll buy your own keywords when you're doing like search engine marketing. And they're called branded keywords, and sometimes you'll have tons and tons of traffic, people coming in from branded keywords. And I always used to joke with my team, is like, no one woke up this morning and just like Googled the name of my company. Certainly when I worked for small startups, it's like, how did you hear about it? It's like, clearly you heard about us from somewhere else, but attributed back, it's just attributed back to, they clicked on a branded keyword, and you're like, okay, well, where did you hear about us first? And that's kind of the dark social thing again, where you're like, I don't really know where you originally found out about us. Did someone recommend it? Did they receive it in a forum? Did someone on the Slack channel tell you about it? So that's kind of where it comes down to. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I mean, it clearly works, right? You see, I mean, it's always existed. It's just, you make a good point around becoming more relevant with some of the other things going away.
Yeah. And the only other trend I'd just mention quickly is omni-channel selling is like become a big thing, where like people are buying through Instagram, buying through, I think eventually probably TikTok, and the channels that traditionally you couldn't buy anything through.
Yeah, and that's just going to keep evolving. I mean, it evolves at a daily rate. And then back to your bit around tracking. How are you making sure that you're tracking that and you're getting then the proof of performance off the back of that?